All right. So another really common thing that you need to do if you're doing any kind of asynchronous work in Android, which comes up often when because you always got to do asynchronous work if you're working with the network, accessing a local database, processing images, any of that kind of stuff, you have to go to a background thread and then post a result to the main thread. So another really common thing that comes up is timeouts or cancellations. Say if you go to make a network request and it's taking too long, the user's sitting there waiting, you need to be able to cancel that job or that request and consolidate the resources and kind of move on and deal with it, show an error, whatever. So with Kotlin Coroutines, there is a ton of ways to handle this, and they're very, very convenient and very easy to use. So in this video, I'm going to show you one way of how to handle a network timeout. So if a network request takes too long, how do you deal with that? So before we get started, I just want to mention that this video is sort of a continuation of the previous coroutines video that I made. If you haven't seen that video, you can just go to my YouTube channel, click on the videos tab, and there's that video right there, Kotlin Coroutines beginner example, or go to the search menu and just type, Kotlin Coroutines and hit search, and you'll find that video for sure. There it is. So that kind of gives you an introduction to coroutines if you've never seen them before, but if you already kind of know about them, watching this video without watching that one is not going to be a big deal. So let's get into the example. So here I have kind of a very basic project open. I have the coroutine dependencies down there. I have activity main, which just has a single button and a text view. The button says click me, and then the text view just says nothing for now. We're going to be appending some results when we simulate a network request in that text view. And inside main activity, which is the only activity, we have just a couple methods. These are from the previous video that I made, like I said. Set new text is just the method that takes an input and sets that new text to the text view that is inside of activity main. Very simple, nothing crazy there, just appends it with a new line. Set text on main thread will will take whatever coroutine that this method is executed in. It will swap it over to the main thread. So it's saying with context, meaning with whatever coroutine context you're currently using, swap over to the main thread and then call that set new text method. And that will prevent the app from crashing if we're doing some work on a background thread, we're getting a result, and then we want to display that result on the main thread. So swap into the main thread, posting the result. Then we have a couple methods down here, get result 1 from API, get result 2 from API. Those are just to simulate a network request, basically. So I have a delay in here, which will delay the coroutine and then return a result. So imagine, a request being made to retrofit. It won't take a second, likely it'll take less than a second, but then it'll do some stuff, it'll return a result, and then we want to be able to do something with that result. So now we're gonna move forward and we're gonna build a method for making that network request and retrieving some results and being able to handle the event of a network timeout. So if that network request takes too long and you want to cancel it and clean up your resources and let the user know that something went wrong. Okay, so first let's create a private suspend function named fake API request, just like we did in the previous video that I mentioned. And this is going to be called within the button click. So some text will get set to the text view, it'll say click, and then we're going to call our fake API request. But we need to, since this is a suspend function, it needs to be called within a coroutine. So we're going to launch a new coroutine here inside of the IO scope. So coroutine scope, I'm going to mention the IO scope, and then we want to launch that. So launch, and then inside here we would call our fake API request. Fake API request. So that's going to fire up a new coroutine on the IO context, in the IO context. So in other words, on a background thread, and it's going to call this coroutine that's marked with suspend function. Now inside of here, we want to create that fake kind of network request. And in the previous video, I didn't mention, or I didn't talk about this kind of concept of jobs. Well, I talked about it, but I didn't give any examples. I compared coroutines to jobs. That's how I like to think of them, because they're not threads. There's like threads, but many coroutines can be doing work in a single thread. So I like to think of coroutines as jobs. So like, for example, I like to go value job equals, you could do launch, and you would do some stuff. The reason it's giving me a red there, it's not letting me write that, is because I need to tell it what context I'm going to be launching this job in. So I need to go with context. I'm going to mention the IO context, and I'm going to put that job inside of there. So I'm saying I'm running the suspend function. It's going to be called within a coroutine. I'm telling it the context of that coroutine is now going to be IO if it wasn't already. Like I could have launched this in main, for example, then called this method and it would swap over to the IO thread. But I'm just going to start this in the IO thread, or sorry, the IO coroutine thread, I guess you would call it. So you can create a job like that, and then you can get results for that job. So I could do, value result 1 equals get result from API 1, and I could log that. So print line result number 1, and just say result 1. And if I was to run that and click it, we would see, I'll just run it. So I'm pressing Shift F10. We're going to run that, and you should see that that result is printed to the log. So let's open up the logcat just so we can see. You can see I'm filtering on debug. I'm going to click that, and after 1 second, it will say retrieved a result. It should anyway. Fake API request, running that, getting that, get result, setting result number 1. That should have, I didn't write debug, so I have to filter on debug, but I'll just remove this filter, and you should see right there, result number 1 is printed to the log. So that's all working fine. We're able to get a result. No surprises there, no big deal. So now how do we handle kind of a timeout? Like what if we wanted to do a couple things, like if I wanted to set some text to the main thread after I get the result. So set text to main thread. I could say got result number 1, so I could say result 1, and then maybe we want to run a second job after that. So I want to say value result 2 equals get result from API request number 2, and then again I want to set that value to our text view. So set that, and let's take a look and see what that would look like. So I'm going to run that. Now once it's running, I'm going to bring up the app, click it. After 1 second, we should get result 2 or result 1, and then 1 second later, you get result number 2. So that's all fine. So what happens if you want to introduce a timeout to this arrangement? If you want to set a time limit for this job that's being executed, well, let's go up to the top here and let's define a constant first of all. So value, we'll say job timeout equals 1900, and give it a long value. So this is going to be 1900 milliseconds. If you scroll down here, notice this one takes 1000 milliseconds. This one takes 1000 milliseconds. So 1900, obviously, 1000 plus 1000 is 2000. So 1900 should fall beneath the allowed amount of time. So what do we do here? How do we capture this or set this timeout? Well, instead of calling launch, I can do withTimeoutOrNull, and I can pass that job timeout value. So job timeout. So now, as you know from my previous video and from what I just showed you, each of these method calls will wait. So like this one will wait until completion until moving to this line, and this one will wait until completion until moving to this line. So the total amount of time to go from this line to this line should be definitely more than 2000 milliseconds because there's a 1000 millisecond delay here. So this job should time out. So it will also, like if I was to declare a different job underneath this one, like value job 2 equals, launch, and had some other stuff happening in here, this job also waits. So this will wait until completion before moving to job number 2. We're not going to have a job number 2, we're just going to have a job number 1, but I just kind of wanted to point that out to you how this is working. So this will wait to completion, and within this job, it's waiting for these two to complete before proceeding. So what we can do here is we can say if job equals null, then we know that it was timed out because we're calling withTimeoutOrNull. It will return a non-null value if it didn't time out. So if it did time out, this is going to be null. So in that case, I want to do value cancel message equals canceling job ... job took longer than our timeout. And then I want to use that message. So print line, can just say cancel message, and then I want to maybe set text to let the user know what happened. So I'm going to say cancel message here. So now if that job is null, if it times out, the user will get a message letting them know. So I can press Shift F10 to run that again, and let's run that and take a look. All right, so opening up the app, I guess I could open the logcat too so you can see. I'll filter on debug, And let's open this, let's click it. So we should get result number 1, but it should fail on result number 2 because the job will take longer than 1900 milliseconds, which is what you see here. Canceling job took longer than 1900 milliseconds. So now let's change that job timeout. So I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to change the job timeout to 2100 milliseconds, and I'm going to run that again. So because both of our delays are 1000 milliseconds, we expect this job to now complete since we're giving it enough time to do so. So here we have the app running. I'm going to click it. We get result number 1, and again we get canceling job took longer than 2100 milliseconds. So that should have finished. So let's take a look here because we've got something going on. So I just ran the app again. I'm not sure what happened there, but I didn't change anything, and it worked this time. So I think there was something wrong with my project being compiled. So anyway, nothing changed. I ran the app again, and as you can see, I got result number 1, got result number 2 when we ran it. So now that I've given it enough time to complete those 2 jobs, then it does not time out. So this is a pretty simple way to handle timeouts in your project. Like I said, there's a bunch of different ways you can, you saw a different method there with timeout/null. You can just do with timeout. So that would just be, the job would end and not return null. So you'd have to have a different way to check that. So you might throw an exception or something like that. There's also job cancellations, which I haven't talked about. Like you can go value job equals launch, and you'd have a coroutine in there. You can also, whoops, this has got to have a different name. Job number 2, then you can do job number 2 join and job number 2 dot cancel, and you could throw an exception there, pass a cancellation exception. Lots of different stuff, but I don't want to get too much into it in this video. I just want to focus on this one method, and I'm going to be making more coroutines videos. So I hope to cover cancellations, the different types of timeouts, async and wait, all that kind of stuff. So if you have anything you want covered, make sure to leave a message down below in this video, leave a comment, and I think that's it. That's gonna be it for this video. Like I said, if it's helpful, if you want to see more coroutines videos, make sure to leave a like so I know that people are interested. Leave a comment if there's a particular thing about coroutines that confuses you, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.